Dear students, welcome back. Today, as you all know, chapter 3 continues. That means the title of the chapter you know already, metals and non-metals. 3 lectures you already attended, understand, and we are continuing the same topic of discussion which we have done. As you all know, in last 2 lectures, we were discussing about chemical properties of metals and non-metals. And in last lecture, if you can remember, I mentioned that last lecture we discussed, that was reaction of metals and non-metals with oxygen. Understood? Uh, Before we start a new topic today, no doubt that's continuation of those chemical properties of metal and non-metals only. But before we start today's topic, I just want to take a reminder of lecture number 3, if you can remember. In lecture number 3, we mentioned that metallic oxides are basic in nature, non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. At the same time, we also mentioned that some of the metallic oxide, we mentioned the two names. One was aluminium oxide and another was zinc oxide. They both possess both the type of behavior, acidic and basic, means we call it that they possess amphoteric properties. Amphoteric means they react with acid and base. Understand? And alternatively play the role of acid and base and form salt and water. So they were known as amphoteric oxides because they possess both the nature, acidic and basic. So it happened that question may arise in our mind also, maybe in your mind also. When we are telling that metallic oxides are basic in nature, non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature, and some of the metallic oxide possess amphoteric property, means sometimes they behave as acid or base. So question may arise at the same time in our mind that are there some oxides which are neutral in nature, means neither acidic nor basic, which we call neutral oxide. Today, before we start the topic, today in the same chapter, acid, base and salt, understand lecture number 4, and the topic I do not need to mention, the chemical property itself continues. Understood? The topic which we are just now discussing is that there are some oxides which are neutral in nature. Neutral means neither acidic or basic. Yes, this can be, though it hasn't been mentioned, understood in textbook. Though it is not mentioned in textbook, but it can be asked. It doesn't mean that some fact are not mentioned in the textbook and it has some connection with your topic. Means you need to make your mind alert that when you are discussing regarding acidic oxide, basic oxide, amphoteric oxide, so at the same time you have to keep an inquisitive mindset to understand that are there some oxides which are neutral in nature? Definitely some of the oxide which we mention N2O, NO, both are nitrogen oxides as well as if I mention H2O, all these three are neutral oxides. So if in one line in MCQ or even in 2 marks, if you are asked what are neutral oxides, name 2 neutral oxide, so you can give this name N2O, NO, understand, or H2O. All are actually can be called neutral oxide. No doubt you have marked one thing, all are non-metallic oxides. Understand? All are actually non-metallic oxide. If you can see here is also nitrogen which is non-metal. Here also nitrogen non-metal. Here the hydrogen and oxygen both are non-metals. So ultimately you can say they are non-metallic oxides and possess neutral nature. That means neither acidic nor basic. That just a continuity of the previous lecture to mention that these are some neutral oxide that you should remember. Okay. Topic 3.2 continues. That is chemical properties of metals and non-metal. We have already discussed two chemical property. First, which we discussed today, reaction of metal and non-metal with oxygen. One we discussed yesterday, that was reaction of metal with water. Two chemical properties of metals and non-metals we discussed thoroughly. Today, the chemical property which we are discussing is, that is your properties number 3.2.3, and that's reaction of metal with acid. Let me mention the name. And I don't think that you don't know about this particular chemical property, reaction of. This is what we are discussing, reaction of metals with acids. Okay, that is title in textbook is how metal react with acid ultimately. So same thing. reaction of metal with acid. Can you remind and have you understood this? Yes, definitely if you can remember. In chapter number 2, that was acid, base and salt, where also you discussed reaction of acid and base with metal, if you can remember. There you discuss reaction of acid and base with metal. Just now you are discussing reaction metal with acid. You all know this chemical reaction of metal and acid very well. Understand, if we just want to generalize it, so you all know whenever metal react with any acid, generally I do not need to mention every time dilute acid, because as far as for the safety measures, we always take the dilute form of the acids. Understood? That has to be very clear in your mind. Let us remind this property, because we want to express this particular chemical property in the form of word equation. Whenever any metal react with acid, can you remind what it produces? Whenever any metal react with acid, it produces metallic salt as well as hydrogen gas, if you can remember. Okay, so to write this particular chemical property, that is reaction between metal and acid, you can write it in the form of word equation in this manner: metal plus acid. Metal plus acid gives metallic salt. Means generally you can simply write salt also, that is also sufficient. No need to mention metallic salt, but because we have written here metal, that's why if you write metallic salt, it looks better. Metal plus acid forms metallic salt plus hydrogen gas. Understood? So this is general word equation to represent and express this particular chemical reaction of metal with acid. And I always tell you in chapter number 2 also, and here in chapter number 3 also, always and always I tell you that whenever you want to write about any particular chemical reaction or chemical property, you have to write the general word equation for expression of that particular chemical reaction. So the general word equation has been written here. What we have written? When metal react with oxygen, it forms metallic salt and hydrogen gas. In support of this, there are so many chemical reaction you can mention. You select any one metal. As I told you in my previous lecture also, do not stick to the textbook content only. Because when you know that metal and acid gives metallic salt and hydrogen gas, that means you can generate any equation yourself. You select any metal, you select any acid, you are able to formulate chemical equation quite easily in support of this word equation, that is metal plus acid gives metallic salt plus hydrogen. You can take zinc, aluminium, magnesium, iron, whatever one metal you select. Understand? Uh, and in textbook they have given in format of activity also, that you take dilute hydrochloric acid in vessel and you place magnesium, then aluminium, then zinc, understood, iron, any metal, and you see what happens. So ultimately, so we all know that this particular chemical reaction are going to produce metallic salt and hydrogen gas. They have mentioned in textbook dilute HCl. Is it compulsory to take? No, let us take some other way. Suppose we write one chemical equation in support of this. Understood? Just take an example. I want to mention one or two equations so that you can understand it. Suppose magnesium metal you have taken. When magnesium, suppose let's go as textbook, react with hydrochloric acid. Understand? Always in dilution form for the safety measure. When they react with each other, can you mention the product? One is particular metallic salt, that is magnesium chloride, and at the same time it releases hydrogen gas. So the chemical equation is written in support. Let us write some another equation. Let us generate ourselves. Suppose uh, aluminium reaction you know, but let us take suppose zinc. Chalo. Zinc. We will not take dilute hydrochloric acid now. Let us take some another acid. Dilute, suppose I take H2SO4, that also can be taken. Okay. Now, when a reaction take place between zinc and dilute H2SO4, again the product will be obviously metallic salt, at the same time release of hydrogen gas. From here you can make equation simply. Zinc will combine with SO4 and it forms one particular metallic salt, which you can say zinc sulfate, and release hydrogen gas. So in both the case, we have explained any metal you can take, acid you should take dilute, either dilute hydrochloric acid or dilute sulfuric acid. Understood? One more thing which I want to mention in exam. If you are asked, describe how metal react with acid, so some of the points you must have mentioned here. When metal react with acid, it forms metallic salt and release hydrogen gas. Two equation we already mentioned, but when you are actually writing your answer, don't write equation directly. First you need to give an explanation to this particular chemical equation. What you will write before you write this balanced, it's not balanced, let us balance it, it's quite easy. Okay. So before you write this particular chemical equation in support of this, you have to write like when magnesium react with dilute hydrochloric acid, it produces magnesium chloride and hydrogen gas. Okay, then you write this equation in support. You can also write when zinc react with dilute sulfuric acid, it forms zinc sulfate and release hydrogen gas. Two equations are already written in support. Is it possible that same reaction take place with another strong acid, which you know, if I just mention the name of that acid here, suppose I take HNO3, nitric acid, I am not writing here nitric acid in dilution form. Understand actually what happens if you just compare these three acids. So nitric acid is ultimately one type of oxidizing agent. So what happens if asked in exam when any metal normally react with nitric acid, why it does not produce hydrogen gas? So one explanation to that fact is that nitric acid is a very strong oxidizing agent. Understand? So actually what happens? No doubt when nitric acid react with any metal, it do produces hydrogen, but we are not able to get hydrogen in gaseous form, because what happens? Nitric acid is highly oxidizing agent. The moment it react with some metal and produces hydrogen gas, but because it is a very strong oxidizing agent, if hydrogen is produced during chemical reaction, because it is a very strong oxidizing agent, immediately oxidizes produced hydrogen. That means what? It oxidizes hydrogen and convert it into water. Understand? That means what happened? Because nitric acid is an oxidizing agent, as you know, you have understood in 9th standard, oxidizing agent reduces itself and oxidizes other. So here nitric acid oxidizes hydrogen produced during the reaction and convert it into water, so no hydrogen is produced at all. Understand? So nitric acid does not behave like production of metallic salt and hydrogen gas. No doubt hydrogen gas is produced, but actually what happens? That hydrogen gas get oxidized and convert into water. But there is exception also. Some of the metal like magnesium, manganese are able to produce hydrogen when they react with dilute nitric acid. Understand? So these are some of the facts in this particular chemical property. The last two sentence or the last two facts which we discussed are very, very important. Can be asked in one line. Why reaction of metal with nitric acid does not produce hydrogen gas? What's the reason? So you have to at the same time explain this. What you will explain? That nitric acid is a very strong oxidizing agent. When it reacts with any metal, no doubt hydrogen gas is produced, but the moment hydrogen gas is produced, it is oxidized by nitric acid. Nitric acid itself get reduced and oxidizes hydrogen and convert it into water. So hydrogen gas is not obtained, but some of the exception are there like manganese or magnesium able to produce hydrogen gas when they react with not highly concentrated nitric acid but dilute nitric acid. Okay, so this explanation of this chemical reaction, that is reaction of metal with acid, is over. Okay, now let us discuss next chemical property. Next chemical property is very important. Understand? Because that particular chemical property will help us to determine metal reactivity series. Understand? Okay, let us discuss that chemical property first, and what is actually the title of that chemical property. 3.2.4. What's the title of this particular chemical property? How metal reacts. That's the title. How metal reacts with solution of other metals, solution of other metals. If you just look at this and just if you try to understand the title itself, you will get a lots of idea regarding this, because indirectly you have studied this in chapter number 1. The title is How Metal Reacts with Solution of Other Metal. Can you guess this? Actually, when you read this title, thing has to struck in your mind. We are going to talk about single displacement reaction here. If you can remember, actually when you are representing the statement how metal react with solution of other metal, that means alt solution means metallic salt solution, as you know, metallic salt solution, and another metal. So ultimately when any metal react with metallic salt solution of other metal, it is going to be single or mono displacement reaction. I just remind you the chapter number 1. Can you remind a single displacement reaction which we have studied? If you can remember in chapter number 1, what was the definition of single or mono displacement reaction? If you can remember, when more reactive metal displaces less reactive metal from its compound, that was the definition, then it is known as single or mono displacement reaction. Just to remind again, when any more reactive metal displaces less reactive metal from its compound, from its solution, then such type of chemical reaction are known as mono or single displacement reaction, that you all know. Now just try to understand one equation at that time we already have discussed also. In one vessel, if you take copper sulfate solution, understand copper sulfate solution in one vessel if you take, and in that vessel if you place, can you remind, iron rod in that, ferrous rod. Understand? So this represents this, how metal, that means iron, react with solution of other metal, that is copper sulfate. I also want to write the reverse reaction also to make the concept clear. Suppose Cu, and here I will take metallic salt solution exactly reverse to this. Understand? If you can remember where actually the chemical reaction take place, if you can remember chapter number 1, definition of single or mono displacement reaction, if you can remember, what actually occurs here. Displacement reaction will take place because iron is more reactive than copper, as you all know, because iron is more reactive than copper. Iron can displace copper from copper sulfate, but here the reaction is not possible. The reason copper is less reactive than iron, so it is not possible for copper to react to displace iron from iron sulfate. So the chemical reaction will take place only in the first one. In textbook they have given the same thing in the form of activity. Understand? It's simply like this, that to represent this reaction, take one test tube. Understand? To represent this, take another test tube. In the first test tube, just to represent this, I will utilize blue pen because copper sulfate is bluish in color. Here is copper sulfate. Okay? Right? And here iron sulfate, ferrous sulfate is actually taken. Let us show it by faint green color. That's its actual color. This is iron sulfate. Right? And now if you place in both, here to represent this you have to keep an iron nail or somewhat whatever, iron nails, 2 to 3 nails or iron rod, whatever. Understand? And here you will put copper wire where the chemical reaction will take place. And what will you observe? So once after making such apparatus arrangement, you will see no change here occurring at all. This is copper wire, this is iron nail, a bunch of iron nail or iron rod, and this is copper. Okay? So actually what happens here? No chemical reaction will take place. So copper rod initially reddish brown remain as it is. Ferrous sulfate, iron sulfate, faint green color remain as it is. No change whatsoever. But what you will observe in the first type of apparatus arrangement, here you will after some time notice color change in copper sulfate. The color of the copper sulfate after some time changes faint green, and this black colored iron rod becomes reddish brown in color. Actually what might have taken, here I just cross because no chemical reaction will take place here, but here iron will displace copper and form iron sulfate and displaces copper. So because copper sulfate is converted into ferrous sulfate, this blue solution turns faint green and the displaced copper automatically will deposit on the iron rod and turns it reddish brown. Understand? So one thing is clear, why the first displacement reaction took place? Because iron is more reactive than copper. So iron is able to displace copper from copper sulfate. Second reaction is not possible. That means copper is not able to displace iron from iron sulfate because copper is less reactive than iron. So just by comparing single displacement reaction between two metal, one was copper and one was iron, we are at least able to justify that iron is more reactive than copper. So this way you can experiment different metals. You can take one metal, metal A, and a solution of metal B, then see either the chemical reaction take place or not. If yes, so A is more reactive than B. So that way you can select any two metal for comparison and you are able to justify or ascertain which metal is more reactive than other metal, and this displacement reaction will help you to justify. I'm just erasing now, you all know, okay? Let me write here also plus u. But one thing has been clear, by such type of displacement reaction between metals, you are able to justify the reactivity of various metal, and based on reactivity of various metal, you are able to write reactivity series of metal from top order to bottom order. Top order you will show highly reactive metal, then medium reactive metal, and then least reactive metal. That is called metal reactivity series. Some of the points you must be knowing. Suppose I take most highly reactive metal, so you all know potassium, sodium, calcium, understand magnesium. Least reactive metal, so you can start from bottom, so silver, copper, platinum, gold, understand. Rest of the metal are medium reactive metal. So just if you want to mention, suppose I write, just I make the title, you need to remember this because it can be asked in exam to write reactivity series. Can you tell me which is the highly reactive metal? Potassium. Next to potassium, if you can remember, sodium, then calcium and magnesium. These four names I just spoke, that if you just want to list out the highly reactive metal, so these four you can write, you have to remember potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium. If somebody asks you, okay, which are those least reactive metal, so you all know gold is least reactive metal, silver is least reactive metal. Even copper is also less reactive metal, understand. So suppose we write this, you understood? Potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium. Which are the least reactive metal? So silver, gold, understand, copper are coming in the category of least reactive metal. Suppose I mention here, suppose I mention copper. So copper is obviously, no doubt, it is not as less reactive as gold is. Silver and copper are somewhat reactive, understand? So in least reactive metal, copper is in the top. Then if you want to mention another one, Ag, that is silver and gold. Okay, three name you can remember, yaad rahi jai. Copper, argentum, silver and aurum, that is gold. Understood? Vachche khali ek just you place here Hg, that is mercury law. Four element at the top, four element at the bottom. Atla to this many elements you can easily remember. Check. Highly reactive metal, which are those? Sodium, potassium, calcium, understand, magnesium. Four metal तो you can remember K, Na, Ca, Mg, potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium. Then you try to remind which are those least reactive metal. So again, yes, if you can remember gold, but gold is the highly least reactive metal. Compared to gold, silver, mercury and even copper are somewhat reactive, so we have list out this metal. Now rest metal, this is the order of highly reactive. This is order of least reactive metal. So what will be in the middle region of the reactivity series? Those metal which are medium reactive. Which metal are left? Can you remember the name? Zinc, aluminium, understand, iron, all fall in this category. Let us just write this. Suppose aluminium, then zinc, okay, then iron, okay, then plumbum and H, that is hydrogen, okay. At least this much effort so you can do. No, it's not so complicated as it looks, right? You just have to effort. These from top to bottom if you come, so at least this many so you can remember, starting from so potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, even aluminium you can include. They are highly reactive metals. Then least reactive metal I already mentioned. At least this much you can remember easily, right? It's not so complicated to remember it, okay. It's not complicated, you just have to remember the name of the metals only, that is sufficient, okay. These are least reactive metals. And medium reactive metal, so starting from aluminium, zinc, iron, plumbum, understand, and hydrogen. No doubt hydrogen, we never consider it metal, understand, but we have placed it here. You will understand the importance of hydrogen, why here in chapter number 5 when we explain periodic classification of element. Understand? Means actually hydrogen placed here, the all metal before hydrogen are more reactive than hydrogen. These are less reactive than hydrogen. So this is complete reactivity series. Here only you need to keep order in mind. H so you can remember, baki to here only aluminium, zinc, iron, plumbum, so that much so you can remember. So this is metal reactivity series. Why I am suggesting you to remember this? Because in exam you will be given such combination of one metal and other metallic salt, and if you are asked the question, do displacement reaction will take place or not, at that time if you can remember this metallic reactivity series, you are able to justify it. How will you remember? Highly reactive metal, which are those? K, NaCAMg, potassium, sodium, magnesium, calcium. Least reactive metal, so copper, Hg, understand? Silver, Ag and Au. And then in the middle region you write all medium reactive metals starting from aluminium. Why aluminium in the top in middle region? Because it is still more reactive than other. So aluminium, then zinc, then iron, and then Pb. H though you can remember. And here also, my dear student, aluminium, why you will write in top order? Because in all this metal, aluminium is more reactive. And how will you remember this order? Zinc and iron. Can you remember? Galvanized iron. To stop the corrosion of iron, iron is coated with zinc. So obviously zinc is more reactive than iron. So zinc will be in upper position than iron. And then plumbum and NH. So that two names so you can remember very easily. So this way you need to remember electro metal reactivity series. So today's topic is over, that is how metal react with solution of other metals. So the topic is over, and you need to how tactically you can remember metallic reactivity series that I explained you. You can remember it quite easily. Understand aluminium in middle region, aluminium highly reactive than the other, then zinc, iron is plated with zinc, so zinc, iron, understand, and then plumbum and H, two so you can remember easily. Baki the copper, mercury, argentum and aurum, okay, because it will help you to solve lots of exercise question which we will definitely discuss when we will meet live in the classroom. Okay. So for today's lecture number 4, 2 chemical property we discussed. 1 reaction of metal with acid, and another reaction of metal with solution of other metal. Okay. So my dear student, thank you very much for attending today's lecture from Bharat sir.